everyone, Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining us for another day of the Scrappy Sisters Scrap September. Today's day is Doilies, and I've got the wonderful Aussie Lizzy Hill joining me today. She has created a beautiful layout over on her page, so I highly suggest you go and check out her process video. She's got process videos for other layouts over there. She has got tag flips, she's got flip books, she's got Project Life. She's really got a big mix happening over on her channel, so definitely head on over to her and check her out. So what am I doing with my doilies today? Well, I'd never done this before, and you can sort of see in the background there I had a practice run before turning on the camera, so to speak. It works really, really well. So I am using just normal watercolor paints. These are literally just purchased from my cheap Chinese $3 shop Concept. Couldn't even tell you the brand of them. They don't have any packaging on them whatsoever, so sorry about that. But they were just, I wasn't really sure how much I'd use watercolors, so I didn't want to buy a super expensive one to start with, and I have loved these. I should have bought like 6 packs of them. But anyway, all I am doing, because that's not helpful for you because you can't get these same ones unless you happen to stumble across them. What I am doing is I have just got a whole bunch of water, really watered those watercolor down. I know they are watercolors, but obviously you want a really smooth consistency. And I'm just going straight over a doily. I have done nothing to the doily whatsoever to strengthen it or anything like that. It's one doily, so I haven't piled more than one together. And I'm just whacking it on. That first doily, you can see I used about 3 different colours. This next one, I'm going to paint it entirely blue. And then I'm going to do off camera 1 more in the dark blue and 1 more in that tealy green colour. So altogether, I'm going to have 4 painted doilies. Now, when you peel them up, they make a really awesome stencil. I haven't quite perfected how to do that without any slippage or runniness or, anything like that underneath the doily, but even still, the look of it is really cool. So in just a sec, when I finish this next blue one, I'm going to skip to the end and you will see the 4 painted doilies, and you will also see the really cute sort of stencil pattern from underneath the doilies. So I definitely recommend giving this a try. That multicolored one is probably my favorite. I did a really cute rainbow one earlier, which just looked gorgeous. See how cute is that? Just works really well. So there are my 4 doilies. I'm going to set those aside to dry, and then I'm going to be back ready to create something with them. So I've got this gorgeous picture of my boys. It's actually the first time that Thomas was able to sit up in a shopping trolley. He really did need Jack supporting him there so that he didn't slip over, but he was so excited to not have to lay down in the baby like the baby bassinet shopping trolley, or to not have to be carried in a carrier by me. He was like, I'm a big boy sitting in the trolley with my big brother. And it made the grocery shopping, so much easier to have them both sitting up in there. So I have gone through my colour bins and I have pulled out all of my sort of the blues that match-ish the colours of those 4 doilies. I've also grabbed my collections of all of my Cocoa Vanilla boy collections, all my Simple Story, my Crepe Paper boy collections that I have. I'm really starting to have only bits and pieces of those. And then I'm just going through all the little bits and bobs that I pulled to see what can work and what can't really work. And I'm trying to put tone on tone with the 3 doilies. And then obviously where that multicolored doily is overlapping, that's where I've also overlapped the 3 doilies as well. So I'm just having a little bit of a fiddle and a play with what colour goes with what. And you can see everything I'm rejecting, I'm putting above my head. Oh, not above my head, sorry, above the page. But it's sort of starting to come together. I've got a basic idea there, and then I'm going to get fluffing, so to speak. So I really loved this paper, and I've been holding on to it for quite a while now. I really want to fussy cut that title, It's a Boy Thing, and include that on my layout somewhere, probably down there, because that was looking a little bit empty. So in a minute, I'm finding it really difficult to organize around that title not being complete and that title being really white heavy. So in a minute, I'm actually going to stop and I'm going to fussy cut that out and get that organized so that I feel a bit more like that's been set in stone and I can work on the next thing. So I'm going to stick down those doilies and I'm going to fussy cut that title, and I'll be back with that all completed. So stuck down doilies, fussy cut title, and I will be back. Actually, I did something else in between, so I thought I'd better pop back earlier. I started a few little embellishments. So I cut in half that little mini border strip. It's only about, I don't even know, maybe 3 inches long, maybe. So I cut that up because I wanted to layer it. But then I realized where you cut it in half, it's like clearly obviously been cut in half. So I had to sort of round that off a little bit. And I'm going to layer those with those little blue stars as well and just have a little cute little visual effect over there. And I'm just having a fiddle with the best way to do that. I possibly shouldn't have cut this big scalloped one directly in half, but it wasn't really long enough to have maybe 4 scallops and 2 scallops. But anyway, it's 3 and 3. Tis what it is. So I'm just going to pop those on top of each other and layer those together there. And then I'm going to do the same with these little star strip, which is obviously a lot longer. So I've got a little bit more to work with. I'm not 100% sure how long I need it to be. So it's going to go there, and then I've got one more little tiny piece that I'm just going to pile on top because might as well use it, frankly. I'm a little bit in the mood of using up some of my supplies that I've had hanging around for quite a while, especially on Tom's scrapbook album, which is what this is for. I use my kit in my family yearly, my 2019 family album I use my kit for, but in Tom's album I just use whatever. If I buy a collection, I can use that. If I have my stash, I can use that. I just use whatever I feel like. And so this particular layout is just using my stash, which I do find really difficult. I really have got into the mood of using a collection or using a kit. So using my stash, I find a little bit lost, and I often find I'm getting better, and that's why I need to keep doing it. I often find at the end of my stash layouts that they just don't quite look right, but it's slowly getting better. I'm really starting to improve with using my bits and actually having it make sense. In this particular layout, it goes a little bit crazy further to the end, but mostly that's a color choice issue. I was running out of suitable embellishments closer to the end, but I needed them, so I just started plonking random stuff on my page. But anyway, let's get to that later. So that big arrow tag is a piece of chipboard, and it is from Cool Kid, not from Boys Rule Cocoa Vanilla Studios, I can tell you that. Something from crepe paper. All right, so that title has been stuck down onto the page and fussy cut out. I know it is a little bit difficult to see. Good and bad. Wasn't quite my plan for it to colour match so perfectly, but it was in my head at the time always going to be a subtitle. So I've got a main title in my brain that will be coming later on down the video. So this piece of acetate, I know I'm working right down in the bottom right-hand corner. I do apologise for that. But this piece of acetate, I really wanted to include that on my page, but it was so see-through, obviously. It was getting lost. There was almost no point in it being there. So I often do this with my acetate to have it be a more useful piece of ephemera. I stick it onto plain white paper, then I fussy cut around it, and I use it as just a normal piece of ephemera. And I find that is a more user-friendly way for me to be able to include that acetate onto my page. The photo is, I've got a pre-made frame, which I think we have a tutorial for from way back, like 3 years ago, way back. Katie gave these to me a very long time ago in our advent calendar, I want to say. So I can dig through all of our old videos and see if there's a process video for how to make those, because I'm pretty sure there is, and I'm pretty sure she didn't use pretty sure it's just a Project Life card with a square die. Yeah, I think that's what she did. Anyway, I can dig through the videos and link it down below. And it's got a little teacup as its like piece of ephemera decorating it, which is cool and fine, but it didn't really suit my mood. So I'm just sticking that one little boy figure over top of the teapot. I would put 2, but I don't have to. So one's enough. I'm going to skip ahead of cutting out of this aeroplane, because I'm pretty sure you know what fussy cutting looks like. So there it is. So if you can remember back to how hard it was to see on the page before, or just flick back in the video, it's so much better now. It's much clearer to see. The blue outline of that aeroplane just really is striking against that blue doily there. So it was totally worth organising it in that way. Just in case you can hear background noise, I'm not sure how good my microphone is on this. My husband and the boys are listening to, Jack calls them the silly boys, which is One Direction, and just making lots of noise and having a grand old morning. It's quite early in the morning here, something with a 6, maybe a 7 in the front of it. And I'm escaping from the chaos to come and do some voiceovers because I want to. Calm and quiet with my cup of tea in my hand. Love my boys, but when do they start sleeping in? Though I was a chronic sleeping innerer. Like, my dad would come and pull the blankets off me at like midday. Okay, maybe not quite, but still I was a big sleeper innerer. So right now I'm sitting here going, oh, when will they sleep in? But I fully understand that they may be like me as teenagers, and just I'll be like, oh my God, when are they going to get up? So I certainly won't try and get them to hurry in either direction. So you can see there one of my colour bins. This is my blue one. I just needed more. The things that I had weren't cutting it, and I really needed something else to go up above that photo where I've got the sunglasses and the telephone at the moment, because I'm just not loving that empty space up there, but I don't know what to put there. So I'm pulling out things that might sort of work. Those cogs, the glasses were just a really good colour match. The telephone's kind of cool, sort of, a bit like a toy, that's fine. Because I'm really struggling for what things to use. And I'm hesitant about putting more phrases on there. I feel a little bit word heady. I've got the little brother. I've got it's a boy thing. So this is my next blue colour bin. I think they're supposed to be sorted by like dark blue and light blue, but they've got a little mixed up. So I just end up running with those crazy, this is what I'm talking about when it starts to get a little bit crazy. The colours match really well, and the ephemera's sort of on topic because they're, toys and things about kids. But anyway, I just roll with it. It's no big deal. As I said, I just really wanted some more up on that top doily to cut the emptiness. So I'm going to keep those, the bike and the cogs and the sunnies up there. They're not even sunnies, they're just normal glasses, which is really not relevant to anything. But the colour was just a perfect match. And then, some more cogs and telephone just to fill in that corner down there because I can. Who knows? Really, who knows? I think it's the bike that throws me the most of everything else on the page. But I was also kind of in the mood of using some stuff out of my stash because it's just been hanging around for so long that I didn't know when I was ever going to get it out there. And I know the boys will get old enough to be riding a bike, and I possibly could have used it then, but, waiting until that moment comes as well. So I figure, get it out. There'll be another bike that comes along at some stage. Wait until one of the boys happens to get glasses. They'll That's just like how long's a piece of string. So I just chucked it on the page. And now I'm happier though, because it's starting to look like that top doily's done, that dark blue doily's done, and now I just need to work on this bottom doily, which I know I want my subheading, so I need to put my main heading on down there. The dinosaur's colour matches up the top better, but it's too busy up there, so I'm just going to leave it down the bottom. The guitar is also a really piece of random ephemera. It's a great colour match with the teal, but the black really stands out quite strong. But my little boy is just obsessed with the guitars, so even though it's completely not relevant to anything going on the page, it just kind of has a Jack feel to it, so I kept it in. I always thought I would use those stars, but they're a little bit tricky to get on the page. It's fluffy for some reason, who knows why. It's been hanging around for too long again. So once I have done all of that, I think it's time to get my heading started. I've got my Heidi Shine there as well. And then the heading got a lot smaller than it was going to be. I was going to use larger thickers for the heading and have it be more, like, stand out a little bit more. But I ended up just using the little tiny stickers, the Paige Evans whimsical stickers. I can't remember what they're called, sorry. And I just pulled, like, the really light white/grey colour of those stickers and just wrote my boys' names, Jack and Tom, because that's who they are, to be more of the heading, along with that It's a Boy thing subheading there. I played with the idea of doodling around the subheading with a black pen to make it pop out a little bit more, and I actually may still do that further down the track. At the moment, I'm calling this layout done, but while it sits on my table drying and getting organised, I'm very, very tempted to doodle around the It's a Boy thing so it's easier to see. P.S. These stickers were a waste of time. You cannot see those on my page. Like, you can only see the ones I stuck on the white part. But anyway, they're going on. And they take a little while. So I stuck these little star stickers around. And they look really cute where you can see them out on the white. But there's a few that I put, like, inside, and no, you can't see them at all. Yeah, silly. Oh well, what can you do? Sorry, I'm getting distracted looking at me sticking all these stars everywhere that you can't even see. I could have done my same trick of putting them onto white paper first, but they're so tiny. They would have been too hard to cut out, and it wouldn't have really been worth the time. I really should have just stuck them on to the white parts of the page and then not worried about anywhere else. But no big deal. I'm just using a normal sewing needle to do that because they were just so little. It was a bit too tricky to fiddle around with them and get them to fit on. So now I've done that, I'm going to grab some sparkly enamel dots in a blue colour. And I'm actually going to pull, there's a little, exactly the same one of those, but in like white silver on the edge of the frame. And I'm actually going to pull that off and put a blue one there instead, because I think that's going to look better than having one random white one. And I would have put more of those white sort of silver ones around on the page, but I don't have any left. I've already used all of those. So I figure it's better to pull that one off and match it with the rest of mine. And then once this is done, I've finished everything that I did on screen. Now, as I said, I did fiddle with this a little bit afterwards, and I've actually added a little bit more to the bottom right and the top left that you will see in the close-up photographs. And I'm still deciding on the black doodles around It's a Boy thing. And I'm also actually playing with the idea of drawing a doodle border all the way around the edge, which hold until you've seen the little extra added to the corners and see if you think it needs it. In fact, you can't even really see the little extra I've added in the corners. There was a peek then. Sorry, bad photographs. In the thumbnail you can. So anyway, check it over on Instagram and see what you think. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Stay tuned for tomorrow.